Time keeps on moving on. Time keeps on moving on, bringing me closer and closer to you. Closer to you, bringing me closer and closer to you.
I'm here with Eugene Ruffolo, who has an incredible background, and I am going for the viewers who don't know Eugene. I'm going to read some of the things that a friend of mine sent me about him, and just to get an idea of the depth of this guy's talent. Eugene Ruffolo has written, produced, and sung on hundreds of radio and television commercials. He's been the solo voice of 43 national television spots and was nominated for a Clio Award for the first commercial he ever composed. During Barack Obama's successful bid for the White House, Eugene's voice was used in the most widely aired TV campaign ad. Eugene has appeared on and been involved with pre-recorded segments for Saturday Night Live on 6 separate occasions. Eugene is a first prize winner of the prestigious Telluride Bluegrass and Merle Fest songwriting contests. He's won the coveted Parents' Choice Award 3 times for his varied work on several children's music projects. He's won an award for writing important songs of social change from the Public Domain Foundation, created by Paul Stuckey of Peter, Paul and Mary. Eugene's voice has been featured in numerous Hollywood soundtracks, including The Stepford Wives, Mission to Mars, Radioland Murders, The Hudsucker Proxy, The Corpse Bride, Amelia and Johnny Depp's Run Diary. Eugene has worked with famed composer and director Ennio Morricone, George Lucas, Brian De Palma, and Martin Scorsese. And lastly, Eugene got cut from a non-speaking role in a scene featuring Robert De Niro in the Scorsese film The Irishman because he had a broken foot at the time and couldn't jump over a table as directed by Martin Scorsese. Is there anything else we have to talk about, Eugene? I mean,
Wow,
goodness gracious.
I sound very impressive on paper, I must admit.
Well, it's good that you can hear this because you've accomplished all these things at such a young age. And so let's talk about your background, how you got to do all these things. Where did it all begin?
Well, I grew up in Westchester, right outside of New York City. Moved here as soon as I graduated college when I was 21, and I've just been plugging away at it ever since. That's the way it works. So, just it's a strange and wonderful business, the music business. You just hang in there, meet people, and try to get as good as you can at what you do, and just hope that your skills are going to speak for themselves.
Now, you went to college. What were you studying in college, and what were your plans?
Well, interestingly, I started out, I wanted to be an environmentalist. So very different than my musical path. So I started out with that. I went to school in North Carolina. I'm actually a forestry major. I was going to be a forester. But it turned out to be very much more scientific than I I always loved nature and the country and stuff. And I always thought, I was young. I just thought I just want to be in the woods. I didn't realize, the realities of it. So I ended up, and I didn't like the school, so I ended up transferring up to upstate New York to Ithaca College. I became an English major, started studying English literature, and I thought about becoming a professor for a while, but I was playing, you know, I had been playing music since I was in high school, and I played throughout college. I was in bands and played solo and did gigs. And so when I graduated college and I was trying to figure out, uh, you know, what I was going to do, I realized I moved to New York and I kind of realized that I was already doing it. So I just started getting more and more into music, and I've been doing it ever since.
What was the path? Did you go to clubs? Did you go to open mic nights? How did all of that develop?
All of the above, you know, a lot of play. I mean, obviously, I've played in when I was younger, played in lots of bars and clubs, and um, you know, I was never a big open mic guy. I never liked open mics that much, but I did a lot of clubs, you know,
Okay.
and then I broke, and then I eventually I broke into the session world in New York City, which is you know, it's not what it used to be, but you know, it's changed a lot. But there was at that time there was a lot going on, and it was really a great, you know, I was always pursuing my own music and writing songs. But if you have to have any kind of a second job, being a session musician is not that it's necessarily a second job. It could be a first job, but it's an ideal job for a songwriter because it meets the perfect criteria. You don't have to invest a lot of time in the actual jobs, and you can make a lot of money. So those are two. That's a winning combination to give you, you know, to keep you fueled for your own creative work.
What are the qualifications for something like that? For people that are listening that may have those kinds of aspirations, what are the qualifications for being a session musician?
Well, I mean,
You have to
obviously,
be a good guitar player,
right. You have
number
to,
one.
well, I was mostly you know, I did it mostly as a singer. I did play guitar as well on sessions, but I really was mostly getting work as a singer. So the
Oh,
qualifications, of course, are the mastery of your instrument, whatever that instrument may be, and also adaptability, your ability to, you know, in the old days, really before my time, reading was a big thing where you would have to read music, and that was a big skill.
mm,
That session musicians used to have. Now, not so much. As a singer, not so much. Um, uh, but your ability to learn things quickly, take direction. People are, you know, perform in front of you know, a lot of session work has to in New York had to do with doing commercials. And that's sort of the holy grail as a singer because there's the most money in that, you know.
mhm.
Um, and in that case, it was pretty high pressure because there'd be a lot of money involved, and you'd have clients, and they'd be directing you do this, try that, different styles, and so you have to be good under pressure. You have to be able to take direction well, to be versatile, and also an understanding of sort of music history because which is something people don't realize. A lot of times people will hear like a commercial and think, "Oh, well, I could do that," and it's true. You maybe technically it's not that difficult to do, but in order to get there, in order to get the call and stuff, you have to be a person that people know is going to be reliable, is going to be versatile, and is going to be have an understanding of music where they could say, let's, you know, for example, with commercials. You know, there's always a reference. So somebody might come in, you might come in and they say, we want this to sound like Elvis, right? And and then if you're singing background vocals, they might say, well, what would the Jordanaires do? How would they voice the harmonies? Or, you know, and so you have to be a little bit
Yeah,
of a music historian. I mean, that may be overstating it, but you have to have an understanding
I
of
understand.
what's needed because they rely on you know, the talent to sort of, you know, to have the musical knowledge, you know. So there's a lot that goes into it, you know.
Now, were you writing commercials also? Were you writing some of these
I
things?
did write some. I mostly work as the talent, as they call it, you know, this is
Mhm.
singer. But I did write. I wrote a number of commercials as well.
Any that people would know that they recognize,
Oh, I
or
don't
what are
know.
some of the ones you sang in that people might know?
Commercials? I've
Yeah.
sang so many commercials, I have to say. Um, oh, I don't know. Some of the I sang. You know, silly things, you know,
Mhm.
Charmin and you know, Gallo wine and Glade plugins, and you know, put all kinds of strange things, you know.
That's
But
well. So once you got in there, I guess you had your foot in the door, and you kind of kept doing. Do you still do that?
I still do. I still do.
Yeah.
Actually,
Why not?
I did two this week actually. for the Super Bowl. I mean,
Oh, really? Wow, how cool.
yeah.
So
Uh,
yeah, so and I've actually never spoken to anybody uh who's done something like this. So and it's really a good lesson for any young people that might be interested in you know doing the
mhm,
legwork and getting out there and doing these kinds of things.
right.
Uh Now, did you how did you first start doing that? Did somebody tell you about it? Did you answer an ad? Um,
Um, I was recommended. I had actually a college friend who worked in an advertising agency who recommended me.
ah,
I was trying to get in there for years. It's a very competitive business
yeah,
and
sure.
very difficult to break in. And so, when I was in my 20s, I made a reel, I made a demo reel. I put it together I just went into the studio and recorded sort of fake commercials, you know, and
Hmm.
made a demo reel and went around, but nobody, nobody would ever hire me because it's very, again, like people tend to not want to take a chance on anybody new. But as with anything else, there's always the moment where you get someone to take a chance on you,
Right,
and then from there, it just fans out because people start to, people recommend you, you know,
right,
to their colleagues, and it's like anything. You just have to kind of find an entry point. It takes a lot
right,
of commitment, and hard work, and persistence.
right. Now I'm speaking with Eugene Ruffolo, who uh, has just recently released a brand new album. This is what, your eighth album? That
I think it's my ninth album.
wow.
Yeah.
9 albums, and this one is titled 10 Good Sermons. You said that each song sort of tells a message. It's like a sermon.
Mhm.
Let's discuss some of them that you feel strongly about.
Well, the first one that comes to mind, I guess, "Precious Stones." It's a song. It was the single that I released from the record.
Mhm.
Through the wonders of the internet. Usually I remember how I wrote a song, but I'd written a song, by the time a record comes out, the song sometimes is several years old that, you've been working on the
Right.
record. So I was thinking about it one day and I was trying to remember, I couldn't remember how I had written it, what the inspiration for the song was. And so I picked up my iPhone on a whim and just looked in the search bar and wrote in Precious Stones, and up in my notes, which is where, I often write ideas, I found this blurb, and it was said on aging. It was an article apparently I'd read on aging, and it had a phrase in there that said something like, I'm paraphrasing, but I had written the quote. I had written it literally in my iPhone, and it said something like, when you find like-minded people in this world, hold them, hold them like precious stones, lay them in a path like precious stones, for each and every one of them is irreplaceable. And I loved that sentiment. So
Mm.
that's what the song is about. It's about like just cherishing the people that are in your life like precious stones.
One. And I was walking lonesome my way, full of mystery, full of strife, dark and dusty, rife with shadow, trying to make sense. Know there's light. For a moment I felt tired, bound and distant. Go along when I stumble, sympathetic stranger. I call that soul a precious stone. You know the feeling is like a recognition, like you've seen that face before. It's like you know them, yeah, you owe them. They're your real life precious stone. Treat them like precious stones. Without love, go this road alone. It seems just like coming home when you lay there in your path like a precious stone. I was drawn right to the lonely, like a moth fly, to the flame. When you showed me how true love shines. Guess I'm never gonna be the same. Hand in hand, heart to heart, back through all those things that we've been through. And I'm still standing, and even stronger, a precious stone I found in you. Treat them like precious stone. Without love, go this road alone. Seems just like coming home when you lay there in your path like a precious stone. So fellow traveler, hallowed stranger, child of God, son of man, we're all here, but for the moment, you better seize that thing you still can. Make the days fun, make the time, but don't walk the road alone. Find a friend, take a lover, make that one sure thing your precious stone. Treat them like a precious stone. Without love, go this road alone. It seems just like coming home when you lay there in your path like a precious stone. Better lay them in your path like a precious stone.
there's a song on the album, On an Afternoon Much Like Today,
Mm.
that is also, well, I'll let you talk about it. It's also a video that you have. So tell me about it and who's with you in this.
Yeah, that's a song that I wrote for a record that I did. I recorded 3 records on a label in Germany called Stockfish Records. It's a really
Okay.
beautiful sort of boutique audiophile label. And I got this record deal with them and I recorded 3 records, and that was my third. And it was a collaboration with 2 other artists. One was a Dutch songwriter named Dennis Colin, who I'd known from, I'd done a lot of touring in the Netherlands, and I met him there. And he had a friend who is now a very dear friend of mine named Shane Alexander, who's an LA songwriter. And we just came up with this idea of doing a record together. We were all big fans of Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. So we had this idea that we were going to do sort of a record that would be, loosely inspired by that, And so we got together in Germany. I'd never met Shane before at the time. So we went to Germany. We ran this by the record label. They liked the idea. We went to Germany, never having rehearsed or done anything together, never having played together. I'd never met Shane. And in 5 days, we made a record together.
Wow.
So that was interesting. And in anticipation we each brought 3 songs to the recording process. We each brought 3 songs of our own. And I wrote that song specifically for this record because I was thinking of the 3 voices. It was a song that I wrote specifically for 3 voices. It's a song about forgiveness, and I have no idea how I came up with it. It's an odd little song in terms of lyrically. It's sort of, I don't know. It's just it's always fascinating. It's just sort of it's not my typical song. It's kind of a little left of center for me, just the way it's written. But I do like it, and that's what you see in that video is.
On a dusty old road down by the bay, on an afternoon much like today, I was walking alone with my head in the clouds when I chanced to see you somehow. You startled and stung when you came into view. I could not believe it was you. After all of the years in the deep pool of tears, I thought that the dark days were through. Rise up, and admit that enough is enough. Rise up, take a sip from the loving cup. On a cool afternoon, much like today, I watched you as you walked away. And though the memory fades, some things remain. Deep in the heart they will stay. Rise up, and admit that enough is enough. Rise up, take a sip from a loving cup. Day after day, yeah, the time slips away, and there's no reason for holding on to the things that we did. We must learn to forgive, for the seasons marching on. Now the feeling it comes every once in a while. Still I always manage to smile at the thought of your face and the lingering trace of the feelings unreconciled. Rise up, and admit that enough is enough. Rise up, take a sip from the loving cup. The loving cup. Holding on. I keep holding on to nothing.
We were doing, I think the video that you're referring to is a radio performance, a live radio performance.
Yeah, and that's also on your website.
Yeah.
Along with a lot of other performances. So glad that we moved here. Anyway, Eugene Ruffolo, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm
Thank you, Artie.
more than thrilled that you could be here, and hopefully we'll see each other soon. And I think we actually will. It's not just
I think so. We're gonna have lunch at the Blue Bee. That's
absolutely. Anyway, have a great one. I'll talk to you soon.
okay. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Time keeps on